Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Backstage Spotlight. Today I am with the lovely Laura. How are you?
I am so good. I'm so excited. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, I think that the first time we met was such a coincidence because we first met at A Knight's Tale at the other palace. Oh no, what was it? It wasn't
Mhm.
A Knight's Tale. It was
No, Percy
The
Jackson.
Lightning Thief. And you were Erin's plus one, and it was for the London Theatre Direct. And then I
Yeah,
did my manager got in touch with you because I did some stuff with the Choco Fruit van in South Bank.
yeah,
And Laura works with Choco Fruit. So you were the contact. And then I met you at Selfridges for the launch of the device.
yeah.
So that was like small world, hey? It was
Small world.
so
Yeah,
like
because when your manager reached out, I was like, I already know you, and yes, you can go. I was like, please. It was so nice. Yeah.
Oh, well, that was lovely. Do you want to give a brief little overview of what you're doing in the industry at the moment?
Oh, Ollie, a brief little. I'm not very brief with anything I do in my life, so apologies if I ramble. But at the moment, so I've sort of been in between things at the moment. There's been a lot of like mini workshops, which has been quite nice. And then I'm just gearing up to start for 10, which is a new, well, I say it's a new show. It was put on last year, but it's been developed again. So it's like a new iteration of Start for 10, which is going to Bristol and Birmingham. Don't ask me the dates because I don't know precisely, but sometime in September till sometime in October.
Yeah, it's at Bristol, 10th of September till 11th of October, and then Birmingham, 22nd of October till 1st of November.
There it is.
So that is very exciting.
um,
Are you rehearsing for that at the moment, or when do the
I
rehearsals start?
literally start in like a week and a bit's time. A week
Oh,
and a bit's
wow.
time.
Great.
Yeah. So I've actually just been sent the script this morning. So I feel like my work will start from today onwards now.
Definitely. So,
Yeah.
just out of interest, what do you do when you first get a script?
Wow. Interesting. It kind of depends on the show. This is something like a different beast to what I've ever done because I'm covering like four parts. So
Wow.
normally I would just like highlight my sections or like look over what I'm in, whereas I sort of need to get like a grips of the entire thing a lot quicker, I feel like this time. And I kind of want to hatch a plan about how I'm going to tackle like five things at the same time, which is something I've never really had to do before. But I'm really excited to do that. So I actually don't really know what the first thing I'm going to do with my
You
scripts.
need
I'll
to
probably read
highlight.
it,
You need to
definitely.
highlight each part and then
I,
color code.
I need like four or five different highlighter colours just to be like this.
Yeah, and then you're like multitasking like, with different colors.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the most colourful script I've ever had. It's going to be like a Rubik's Cube by the end of it, but I'm quite excited.
Oh, brilliant. Well, so
Yeah.
kind of like you're doing two locations here, but you actually have been on tour with Six. So I want to ask you the ins and outs of the tour life because I feel like a lot of people see the surface of it, see the show, but I want to know your take on being on tour.
Wow. Do you know what? I really didn't know how I was going to feel about being on tour because I quite like my home comforts. So I was a bit like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to feel. But I absolutely loved it and I kind of miss it. I like most people once they've done a big tour like that, that I'm never touring ever again. Whereas I'm like, I think I quite liked touring again, actually. I really like the movement between different cities like each week. And I know also some people hate that.
Mm.
Whereas I quite liked weekly touring. I'm quite like I get bored quite easily, I think. So I quite liked moving to a different place and being like, right, what's that? There's so many things to do.
Yeah.
And I'd never really seen the UK, which I know sounds so silly, but like I've lived here my whole life and I've never been to half of the towns or cities. So it was really nice to like, yeah, just see new places and be like, wow, this is a whole new world.
And I bet now you're thinking
But
like you think of the UK and you're like, oh yeah, been there, know what that's like, know what that's like.
yeah.
That's
And
my
do you know what? Like I always base traveling now off service stations. And like, you could ask me about any service station in the country, and I'm like, yeah, I've got it. I could rate it. Like, what's the one on the way to Scotland? There's like, it's like by a farm. If people are listening to this, they'll probably be screaming it out. But there's a certain service station that is like en route to Scotland, which is the best service station I've ever been in my life. I could live there. It's so good.
What's so good about it? Loads of different things.
Well, I went when the sun was setting. So for one, you're like sat in this like farmhouse cafe. What is it called? That's gonna bug me so much. But you're sat in a farmhouse cafe that like overlooks like rolling hills, which normally when you're at a service station, you'll buy like a Greggs and a WH Smith's and a load of cars. Whereas like this is like, wow, it looks like a fairy tale. There's a lake outside. There's a
Really?
lake. Yeah, it's amazing. And then like there's like a really organic, nice farm shop there. It's like a place I would go on the reg just to like peruse around anyway.
Oh,
It's just gorgeous. Yeah.
should
It's gonna hit me like in probably like 10 minutes, I'll just scream out a word and you'll be like, what? And I'm like, that's the name of that service station.
Okay, yeah. Get your mind ticking on that one. I'm expecting it
Yeah.
at the end of the podcast. Six. Tell me about your track, the Queens. You all seemed like such a nice, tight knit of group of people, and that must be so lovely, especially on tour. How was it playing Anne Boleyn?
Oh, it was dreamy. I honestly, it sounds like a really boring answer, but I really did. It was my dream since I left drama school, and it really lived up to the dream. And I was nervous it wouldn't, to be honest, because I don't really like the question of what's your dream role, really,
Yeah.
because I don't really have one. Because I'm scared that if you put something on a pedestal too much, that it won't live up. But the only role I've ever done that with was Anne Boleyn. So
Yeah.
I was scared. I was like, I hope it lives up to what I've got it in my head. And I have to say it was 10 times better than any of that. And I think that was down to the show, the audiences, like touring and doing it in front of like 3,000 people was just like it in Edinburgh. Like you're never going to get that anywhere else. So it was just like that part of it was amazing. But I think the main, amongst like the show and the role and that being just immaculate, the girls and the crew and like every single person that works on that show with us was just like such a family that when I look back on my tour now, yes, I absolutely think about all the lovely time on stage and all the like immenseness of the show, but like a lot of my joy for it is in the people in it as well. Like the girls are just, we still speak all the time, like we all see each other, we get a bit like itchy if we haven't seen each other in a while. So it's quite like, yeah, it's like kind of defined my life now going forward. Like I actually cannot imagine my life without those people in it.
Yeah.
We like when we first finished, we really didn't know what to do with ourselves because we were like, I've literally like breathed and ate with you and like gone to the toilet with you sometimes. Like because we just live in each other's pockets all the time. That when I didn't do that, like how am I supposed to go on without my like oxygen next to me? Like it's kind of what it felt like. It was a bit weird, but weird, but in a beautiful way because they're just the best people. And yeah, I'm so grateful to be paired with those people because it also could have been a nightmare. Do you know what I mean? Thank goodness everyone's so great because it's a recipe for disaster if you don't get on with people.
Yeah, that's so lovely. Do you have any hacks that you would advise like people to bring on tour, like maybe an item from home
Oh.
or go on? I feel like you do.
I feel like if you can drive, I would say the hack is drive everywhere because then you can like Jen Caldwell actually gave me this advice, but you could like take your own pillow
Yeah.
or like and it's things like that where like when you get to a digs and you get into like what their version of bedding is, it could be like the worst version that you've ever imagined of those things.
Yeah.
So like but if you've got a car you can then like bring your pillow, but one I kind of did a bit of both like train and I'm acting it out, this is hilarious. Training car, but I always brought, it's a bit fancy, but I got myself a silk pillowcase. Like I got myself like 3 silk pillowcases. And then every place I went to, I would like put my silk pillowcases on because then I was like, at least I know I'm always putting my head
On
on
your
something what I know. So I would say that, but I very sort of quickly learned like minimal is best. Like when I first went on tour, I had like 700 bags and I had like two suitcases full of things. And by the end, I honestly had a tiny little box of a thing. I
Yeah.
became so minimal by the end of tour because you really just don't need that much. I ended up wearing the same three comfort outfits everywhere I went anyway. It's just less is definitely more.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think you just have to find what your thing is and then stick with it.
For sure. Also, I think like the thing with the pillowcase, like if you've got a car, fine, you can bring your pillow. But if you are traveling on the train, a pillowcase literally just folds up into the tiniest little parcel.
Exactly.
Good.
And it's just those like small comforts that just like do make quite a big difference.
Yeah. And if you're not sleeping well, you're not performing well.
Amen. Absolutely that.
Say it louder for the ones in the back.
Yeah, they're that at the back.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm actually so bad with sleep. I'm so bad with it.
Really? Oh, and on tour as well, I
Yeah.
when you get like just a bad bed or even just like outside environment, if you're near a train station, if you're like near a clock tower or something like that,
Yeah.
it
And
just
also, I feel like every show, when I'm in like show mode, I always have to have like a routine that I do when I get home from a show because else I can't wind down. Like, I think because your adrenaline is just so high after doing it, by the time I'm home, I'm not sleeping till like 2:30 in the morning because I'm just like wired. It's
yeah,
really hard. You have to like find a way to like calm your nervous system to like get back to normal a bit.
forming your whole like routine shifts and then like you're sleeping later and then like you're getting up later, eating a bit later so that you don't have to eat like mid-show or like in between shows.
Mm,
And then after the show, you then have your downtime, which is like maybe 4 hours, depending on like what your routine's like. So it's a lot being a performer.
yeah,
I'm going to go into work-life balance because I don't think there is any.
I think you're right there actually. I keep trying to like strive for that, but I keep also massively failing.
I think that's just the way it is. But I did want to ask you about your food page because you have a page on Instagram called Brunch in Pairs and you create food content. And this is such a great idea, especially like when you're going on tour because you can just explore so many different places. And I just want to know how you came up with the idea to start a page for it.
Well, it's a bit of a weird one really because I never sort of intended it to be like an influencer food blog. Like that was never my, like how people are like, that's generally what people want to do now. That kind of wasn't what I set out for it to be. I just love food. Like if anyone spoke to me, like my passion for food, it's a bit like like I love it so much. Like and I get really nerdy about it. So I started just like having a camera roll full of like eggs and brunch and breakfast that was amazing. And then I'd be like showing off to all my friends, like, look at all these amazing things I've eaten. Like so I just was so nerdy about it.
Watch it.
But
If you're watching, guys, like it's incredible.
yeah, nerd. I'm such a nerd for food.
Like,
But I had this camera roll full of all of that. And then people would say, oh my God, that looks amazing. Where did you go? And I'd go, oh, I actually can't remember what the name of the place I ate at was. And then that was really bugging me. So I thought, hang on, why didn't I take them off my camera roll and just put them in like kind of just a separate Instagram that was kind of my own scrapbook that I could just, I actually didn't think it was for anyone else, bar just for me. When people asked me for me to go, let me show you this specific page that I've created so that I can show you. And then like, I would like tag them all so that I knew, literally. And then, to be honest, it's mainly just for me to look at like 12 p.m. midnight when I'm feeling peckish. It's my own little like private scrapbook. But yeah, and then it just kind of blew up. Like over time, it turns out other people really like food as well, which was a great thing for me. And then it just got bigger and bigger. And then suddenly I wasn't telling my friends as much about the places I'd eaten, but I was telling the general public a bit more. And then a food blog was sort of born. But the kind of origin story was me and my best mate. And, like we lived together at the time, Steph. We used to go for brunch every like 3 times a week. It was like our hobby, and we were like at brunch, and we both said, "Let's create the scrapbook." And then literally 2 weeks in, she was like, oh, "I don't want to do this anymore," and I was like, "Don't worry, I've got it for us both."
I'll be
And I
back.
carried it on. So that's why it was brunch in pairs,
Yes.
because originally it was two of us, but
I mean, these look incredible. Like, I can't even, like, that just looks,
oh, apple butter cafe.
that is making me hungry. So good. So what
What's
have
your
you,
favourite cuisine?
oh, my favorite. I love like Thai, like your spring rolls, your like curries, like an Ivy Asia mixed with like sushi,
Mm.
like that sort of vibe. I think that's my favorite.
I love that. If you want sushi, my favourite restaurant in the whole, this is the whole of London. This is quite a bold
It's
statement
like
for me to
the
say.
favorite, because I was going to ask you
This
this.
is my favourite.
Okay.
It's called Dozo. And it's like, it's not the fanciest, smanciest place. It's like, it's quite humble, but I love it because you sit on the floor and you have a little
Oh,
cushion and
wow.
your legs like dangle down. And like, it's very authentic. Dozo. I think that is it. Yeah. It's
Arizona.
right by GA, if you know what that is.
Yes, I found it in Soho.
Soho.
Wow,
That's the one.
that looks incredible. I'm going to have to add that to my
And
to
they do a lunchtime deal as well. So if you want cheaper food, go at lunchtime.
stunning. What was your favorite brunch spot, would you say, if you have one?
Um, that's impossible. I would say I have a favorite for the specific dishes. Like if you wanted a pancake place, I'd go to like where the pancakes are, or Sunday in Brooklyn. If you wanted like French toast, my favorite is Egg Break. They do a cornflake Nutella French toast, which is like coated in cornflakes. It's
Like,
unbelievable.
what about your classic fry up?
Oh, classic fry up. That's a tough one because everyone does a classic fry up very differently. My favorite one that used to be, it's actually not around anymore, but it was called Peddler and it was in Peckham. And that fry up, when I say I would travel like earth, land, sea, sky to go there, it was so good. And I haven't quite found one as good as Peddler yet. So I unsure. But I do like another good fry up is the addresses. They're like a chain of places. So there's like one in Wimbledon, there's one in like I mean they're all over, but the addresses is their Instagram. And they do a mean fry up to be fair. But
Have you
Peddler
scouted,
was
oh, sorry, have you scouted out some places in like Bristol, Birmingham for when you're going to be there to go and eat?
well, Birmingham I've been to before and it's sort of near me. So I've got
Good.
literally every single place down for Birmingham. Bristol is unknown territory for me. So I'm open to suggestions. So if
Yeah.
anyone does know any Bristol places, hit me up. But I quite like just like when I get there, getting a bit lost and then
Finding
like finding the places.
that's
But this was my other tour hack, I suppose, was like when I want to find food, what I do when I'm in an area is I type in like hashtag area food blogger and I find the food bloggers of that area and then I find out where they tell you to go. And then that's how like I like look down their page and I like find the ones I'm like, that is good, that is good. And then I kind of base it off that.
yeah, that's
So
very
if I'm going on holiday, always do that.
yes, such a good tip. And I presume then you put that hashtag on your posts so that people can like find your page for like London areas.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm starting to figure out how it's working. You're gonna see me posting like my coffee tomorrow morning.
Honestly, let the food begin.
Brilliant. So this might be like a bit of a cryptic question, but in general, so I know you're doing this show in a couple of months, in a month actually, it's not actually that far away. What do you see yourself doing like in the next year, in the next 2 years, or are you purely going with the flow like many people do in this industry?
That's a really good question. I feel like I agree. I feel like you have to sort of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I used to manifest quite a lot. I used to like kind of plan quite a lot and try and be like, I think this is what I'm going to gun towards.
Yeah.
Whereas since I finished six, I sort of shifted my approach a little bit, just to being a bit like, I'm just going to sit back a bit, work really hard in the background, and just sort of see what happens.
Yeah.
And it's been a really nice way of like coming at it a bit because one, it feels a little bit less soul destroying because when we put so much of ourselves into it and then don't get rejection, it
Yeah.
feels awful. Whereas like sort of just like working really hard but being like, I'm not gunning towards anything, I'm just putting everything out there and seeing what sticks
Yeah.
has been kind of a nicer way to deal with it all, I think. But
I think that
I
mindset
would quite like to.
that mindset thing is really important. And I feel like
Mm,
once you realize that in this industry, like I got to second year and I was like, okay, maybe I don't want to perform as much as I thought I was destined to. So what can I do?
mm,
Start a podcast. I'm gonna push on my social media, like more presenting stuff and go towards that, which is less pressure for me because I enjoy it more. And then you're not in that,
yeah.
especially at college, you're not in that bubble of they're doing that, so I must do that. They're so good at this, so I have to try really, really hard to do that. It's like, no, just stay in your own lane and like build your skills for you. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. And I honestly think that that's the thing you're not really taught. It's like, it is like like even now, I've been in this industry like, what? It's like 6 years, 7 years. And like, I'm still kind of figuring out how it works. Because every time you're unemployed, it doesn't get any easier. Like you go back to that place again of like, okay, what is my like process of this? So I think it is something that's ongoing and always will be. But I think if I was to say like what I'm gunning for, I suppose I'd really like to do some more creative work. So like potentially something on the other side of things. It's a bit more like on the creative team as opposed to being on stage. But
Nice.
also I have been involved with like two up and coming musicals now. So obviously 42 Balloons and Start of 10.
Yeah.
I'm secretly hoping they have another life. And my work here is already done, and
Yeah.
hopefully something will happen with it. But and also just for the shows, regardless of me being in them.
West End transfer. Brrr, Laura.
Please. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's so unpredictable that you just have to be like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm not going to do that because I'm doing this, but I'm not closing any doors. And it's all about just like being like that without tiring yourself out and burning out, which happens quite a lot in this industry as well.
So much in this industry. And I also feel like you can't get your hopes up for anything because I'm a firm and I'm really good at dealing with this now, but like I'm a firm believer of like what is meant for you is meant for you. But I do believe that
Me
of
too.
like if
Yeah.
yeah, like if my journey with shows I've already done doesn't continue, that's not on me. That's not on me. If anything, when I get to go and watch it, which is amazing, I get to like see the thing that I like was part of. But also, it's because something else was waiting for me. Like there were certain things before six that I was devastated about that didn't pan out. But if they'd have panned out, I never would have done six.
Yeah.
So like it is a bit airy fairy, but I do feel like I really truly believe that what is meant for me will happen. So I don't really get down about like rejection or bad news or things. I'm quite good at being like, well, that's fine because something is on the way or whatever.
Yeah.
I hope it's on the way. Well, like something's on the way. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that mindset is really helpful going into auditions as well because you're taking away that blanket of pressure and the rejection side of it. Like you can't take that into future auditions because what is the point of holding yourself back for something that you might get? And I want to ask you about auditions and how you said like the rejection and stuff, you seem to have a really good attitude about that. But what is your like top tip when you are going into auditions?
I think it's just to like remember. It's really hard. My first thought was like be yourself, but that's really I kind of hate that advice because like obviously you're going to be yourself. But I think it is that thing of like just go and do you and what you've practiced
Yeah.
to as best that you can. Like the auditions that I feel most positive about, regardless of the outcome, are the ones where I go in and I go, I really did myself proud there. Like I really practiced. I did what I like rehearsed. I like managed to show what I do in my shower in a room full of people that are quite scary. I think that is like the knack of auditioning is like making sure that the performance that you've done for your mirror back home is the one that they get.
Yeah.
And I think the key to that, for me anyway, is like reminding myself that like nothing I can do today is really going to change their opinion of me drastically. As long as I am myself, I'm a nice, pleasant human, and I try and do a good job. Regardless if I'm not right for the part, they're not gonna. We're quite overcritical to ourselves sometimes. They're like, they must hate me. They must, I must. They're never going to see me ever again. I think that those thoughts aren't helpful. So I try to remind myself that like all I've got to do is go and sing a song and then leave and then go and get a sweet treat on the way home.
Yeah.
And if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. And I think like having high stakes for things is good because it like reminds you of the importance and the value of what it is that you're going for. Like I think it's nice to know the value of something really means a lot to you, but I also think lowering the stakes of everything in your own head is so important and just remembering that really all we're doing is singing like a 16 bar cover song
Yeah.
and that's quite fun.
I think another piece of advice which someone has said to me recently as well is that they want to cast the show. They want you to be good. They literally want
Yeah.
you to be good. Like they're not there to criticize you. They want you to do well. And I think that once you've got that mindset, it's just like, oh yeah, like they're fully vouching for me to because they've called me into the audition room. They want me to be in their show. So
Yeah.
if I don't match maybe the size, the hair color, the eye color, like that's fine. But you've gone in, you've done your best. If you've messed up a bit, there's another audition around the corner.
I also spent like the first 3 years out of drama school, well, not 3 years, but like, well, yeah, 3 years out of drama school for me were quite auditionless. Like, I didn't have an agent for half of that.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really like carved and banged my way into this industry. And I feel like now, exactly like you just said, getting in the room, you have already won.
Yeah.
Like, so immensely in a way of like, you would not be in that room if they weren't interested in you because there's too many of us for them to waste their time not being interested.
Mm.
So I always remind myself of that of like check your privilege of being in this room because there was 3 years for me where I've experienced what that doesn't feel like and like that in itself is a totally different challenge and rejection is also a challenge in auditions but like I always remind myself like you're doing good. If you're in the room, you're doing something right. Yeah, like it's tough.
Is. And I think of my own situation. So I graduated a year ago, and in that year, and even in third year, I only ever have been seen for one thing, like in 2 years. And for me,
Yeah,
I've got so much going on. I'm so busy. So for me, like that's okay because it's not like my path. It's not my end goal because I've got so much going on. But for someone who's just graduated and doesn't teach or doesn't have a podcast, doesn't do like social media like I do, that's harrowing. Like they have to still go to class, they have to like really push to be getting into the audition. And if they're just not getting any, like it's such a hard industry. And I can't like get my head around how people do just that. I feel like you have to push yourself down different routes whilst also having an agent and trying to get those auditions because if you are just sat waiting for auditions, you just don't know when they're going to come.
yeah, and like I think I definitely learned. like in one way, shape, or form that like you can, wait it out. But I waited for 3 years and nothing happened for me. So I was like, I'm gonna have to take some action now. Like, and I went to workshops and I like tried just to speak to as many people as possible. And I worked really hard at like doing what every performer here does is just like following your passion and going for it. But then you have to be relentless with that and not lose your faith. Like you have to just keep going and like taking all the ones that you get, but then also just like keep throwing like everything you've said about all the other things you do. Like I know it sounds so stupid, but I did a musical that I got a connection from Brunch in Pairs.
Yeah, that's so
Like,
good.
and I never thought that that would feed into musical
That
theatre
was the
when
same
I'm
with
talking
me.
about eggs on toast.
Yeah, I did Super You in concert in my third year, and they reached out to me because they had an influencer track in their show, and I was doing social media and I trained at Lane, and they saw that, put two and two together, and were like, "Oh, well, we'd love you to be in the concert as this role." And I was like, "How did that
Yeah.
come to this opportunity?" And it is about like thinking, what can you do outside the box of like college to then help you when you leave?
And like not even just in terms of like well, obviously we do social media and stuff, but regardless of social media, like learning a new skill.
Yeah,
Musicals are so niche these days.
yeah,
Like, I mean, look at Starlight. It's called blooming rollerblades.
yeah.
Like, it's gonna be a day where there's gonna be a musical, like even Great British Bake Off. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many niche things that you're like, who knows what kind of weird and wacky skill is gonna be the reason that I book that show at the National that's so niche.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. So I think the more you can just like live your life and like invest in yourself in as many ways as possible, you just become a more interesting person. And then yeah, I don't know. It all feeds into the same thing. But
And then who knows what
yeah, I think that is the yeah, I think that is the best audition tip is like don't focus too much on the auditions, but just focus on you and living your life and constantly developing in some way.
Yeah, very good advice. The last question I'm going to ask you to tie this up together. If you could pick the ultimate duet partner, dead or alive, who would that be?
That is so hard. I think it has to be Freddie Mercury.
Oh,
Like it would have to be. I don't know how I'd ever be able to duet with Freddie Mercury because who can duet with Freddie Mercury? But I think just even just to do some oohs and ahs and just to go like just stand next to him, to be honest, in
yeah.
like close proximity. I just don't think there's anyone like him in the whole wide world. I don't even think we blend well together. Like our voices would not complement, but I just would love to watch him in the flesh. He's yeah, unreal.
Amazing.
Who would you pick?
Um, I have no idea. I'm asking all these questions and I'm not even thinking
I
about
know that's such an interesting question. I love that question.
it. I don't know. I really don't know. Because I'm thinking like, oh, just to meet her, Adele.
Yeah. Oh God, she'd
So
be lovely to sing with
I
actually as
would
well.
butcher it and she would never want to speak to me.
There's no way.
But yeah, probably Adele, just because I've always wanted to see her live. So maybe just to tick that off. I'd be like, yeah, I've seen her and I sang.
Yeah, love that. We'll
Oh,
make it
brilliant.
happen.
Yeah, well, maybe. Thank you so much, Laura. It's been lovely to speak to you. Best of luck with your rehearsals, and I'm sure you'll keep everybody updated on your socials. So everybody head over there. And also go follow her food page. I mean, if you want the food tips, you know where to go now. But thank you so much, and I hope that everyone listening has enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week for another one. And take care, Laura. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.